It's like you can see forever, right?
The kitchen sink approach.
Everything we feared about the future of Yellowstone might just be coming true. The spin-off we pinned all our hopes on, the one centered on Beth and Rip, has reportedly hit a wall so big, it may never see the light of day. Yes, the show that was supposed to carry on the Dutton legacy after the original series ended is now dangling by a thread. We're not just talking delays. We're talking about the very real possibility that this spin-off is dead before it even begins. And if that's true, it could mean the Yellowstone universe, as we know it, is collapsing right before our eyes. When Yellowstone ended abruptly earlier this year, it left a hole in the hearts of millions of fans. But there was a lifeline: Paramount's promise of multiple new projects to keep the Dutton family legacy alive. And at the top of that list was a spin-off focused on Beth and Rip. This wasn't just another sequel. It was marketed as the emotional continuation of Yellowstone's story, its sixth season in all but name. The release was set for November 2025, giving fans exactly 1 year to recover from the finale before diving back into the world we'd grown so invested in. It felt poetic. It felt like a gift. It felt safe. But then, like a slow-moving storm, the bad news began to roll in. First came the title confusion. Reports claimed the spin-off would be called Dutton Ranch, a name that instantly clicked with fans. But before anyone could celebrate, Cole Hauser, Rip himself, came forward and shut it down, calling it just a rumor. His tone was sharp, almost dismissive, leaving fans puzzled. Why push back so strongly against a title that seemed like a natural fit for the franchise? The cracks widened when Hauser dropped another bombshell. As of June, just 5 months before its scheduled release, the spin-off didn't even have a clear storyline. No script. No solid direction. For a show of this scale, that's not just concerning, it's a red flag waving furiously in the wind. It was déjà vu for Yellowstone fans, who remembered all too well how delays and uncertainty eventually spelled the end for Season 5's second half. And then came the gut punch. Paramount announced the release date had been pushed back to 2026. The official reasoning? A combination of corporate restructuring after the Paramount-Skydance merger and scheduling conflicts with other Taylor-Sheridan shows. Sure, the merger could mean more resources and better planning for the spin-off, but to many fans, it felt like the same old story. Yellowstone keeps getting shoved to the back of the line while other projects take the spotlight. The timing doesn't help either. Paramount's late 2025 calendar is already jam-packed, with Mayor of Kingstown Season 4 set for October and Landman Season 2 arriving in December. That lineup leaves no room for a major Yellowstone property without overcrowding the schedule. From a business standpoint, delaying the spin-off makes sense. From a fan's standpoint, it's yet another betrayal. And here's the dangerous part. This is exactly how cancellations start. We've seen it before. First a delay, then another, then radio silence, and finally, the dreaded confirmation that the project is gone for good. If that pattern repeats here, the Beth and Rip spinoff could join the growing list of Yellowstone casualties. The tragedy is, the spinoff had so much potential. Rip and Beth are two of the most beloved characters in the entire franchise. Their chemistry is electric, their story raw and unpredictable. Fans wanted to see them run their own ranch, face new challenges, maybe even start a family, a prospect teased in Yellowstone but never fully explored. The show could have given us closure, new adventures, and a deeper look into these characters we've followed for years. But as of now, we don't know if cameras will ever roll. Filming hasn't officially started. The only glimmer of hope came from Finn Little, who plays Carter, posting a photo in a cowboy hat and beard, hinting at preparations for production. Yet without confirmation from Paramount, it's just that, a hint, not a promise. And after everything we've seen, hints aren't enough anymore. If Yellowstone's most anticipated spin-off really is in danger, it's not just one show we're losing. It's a sign that the entire Yellowstone universe could be winding down, piece by piece. And for fans who've invested years into this saga, that's a loss you can't measure. The question is, are we witnessing a temporary setback or the beginning of the end? The most frustrating part about this whole situation is how familiar it feels. Yellowstone fans have been here before, left hanging by vague statements, shuffled schedules, and promises that somehow dissolve into nothing. Remember the chaos around Season 5's second half? First, it was delayed due to production issues. Then, more delays with no clear explanation. By the time the truth came out, that the season would be the last, it wasn't just disappointing. It was infuriating. And now, watching the Beth and Rip spin-off stumble down that same path, you can't help but feel a cold sense of déjà vu. What makes this even harder to swallow is the lack of transparency. Paramount and Taylor Sheridan know how much this franchise means to people. They know how loyal the fan base is. And yet, instead of clarity, we get carefully worded updates designed to sound reassuring while saying nothing concrete. The title? Still up in the air. The story? In development. Filming? Pending. It's like they're keeping us in the dark on purpose, hoping the uncertainty will just fade away. Then there's the Sheridan factor. On one hand, he's a creative powerhouse, the mind behind Yellowstone's gripping storytelling. On the other, he's juggling so many projects. Mayor of Kingstown, Landman, 1883, 1923, that Yellowstone sometimes feels like it's no longer his top priority. And while his talent is undeniable, his attention is spread thin. Fans are left wondering if the spin-off is simply another victim of Sheridan's overloaded schedule. The danger here isn't just losing one show. It's the domino effect. If the Beth and Rip spin-off collapses, what happens to the rest of the planned Yellowstone universe? Will other sequels quietly disappear? Will the entire Dutton saga end not with a grand finale, but with a slow, silent fade into nothing? It's not an exaggeration to say this spin-off is the heartbeat of the franchise's future. If it flatlines, the rest may not be far behind. And yet, despite all the warning signs, there's still a stubborn hope clinging on. Maybe it's because Rip and Beth are the kind of characters you don't just walk away from. Maybe it's because the idea of seeing them run their own ranch, face new enemies, and build a life together feels too perfect to abandon. Or maybe it's because, after all these years, Yellowstone fans have learned to live on scraps of good news, holding on to them like lifelines. But hope is fragile, and every delay, every cryptic statement, chips away at it. The truth is, unless Paramount makes a clear and public commitment to the Beth and Rip spinoff, with a locked-in title, a finished script, and a concrete filming date, this project will always be one bad decision away from cancellation. And if that happens, it won't just be the end of a show. It will be a betrayal of every fan who kept the Yellowstone universe alive through their loyalty and passion. So, where does that leave us now? Waiting, watching, bracing for either the announcement that filming has begun or the headline we all dread, Beth and Rip spinoff canceled. And if it's the latter, it will confirm what many of us have feared for months, that Yellowstone's golden age is over, not with a roar, but with a whimper. Until then, all we can do is keep the conversation alive, keep the pressure on, and make sure Paramount knows this. The fans are still here, still watching, and still ready for the show they were promised. Because if they think we'll quietly let go of the Dutton legacy, they're dead wrong.